Well, hello again, garden friends. Welcome back. It's nice to have you here. I'm just been working on my indoor garden a little bit today, and I'm going to show you a little bit how I like to actually fertilize my houseplants. Houseplants are big right now. Everyone's loving their houseplants. There's so many varieties out there to choose from and grow. A lot of different cultivars and to choose from, and so it's a really exciting time to be a houseplant grower. They're easy to grow and they're beautiful, obviously, and they can really add a lot of interest to a little corner of your house or whatever, like we have right here. And so in today's video, I'm going to teach you a little bit about the importance and the technique on fertilizing your houseplants. There's a lot of different ways you can do it. You can do it with liquid fertilizer. You can do it with, like we're going to do today, with a slow release fertilizer, which we're going to use little granules. Let me show you right here if you can see that. We're going to use some of those. It's just a really basic slow release fertilizer that you've probably seen something similar at garden stores and centers near you. And so what's nice about this is it's pretty well balanced nutrition for your house plant. It's going to feed these plants for several months, probably like 4 months or so, give or take, according to the label. But what's nice about it is that it breaks down slowly. And so as those nutrients are in there, they're going to be slowly broken down by their exposure to water and moisture, and then your plants will slurp that up nice and quickly as they grow. And so it'll provide that nutrition as they need it. A lot of the house plants I have right here, as you can see, they're young, and some have been around for a little while and been in their pots for a while, like let's see, like this one right up here. It's pretty mature. The one on the top left there, that little beauty, and that Dracaena there is getting good size too. What happens is when you start growing in containers, whether indoors or out, your plants are really limited and in their access to nutrition. And so they really. They only can get what you can give them, and so over time you'll notice either if your plants are struggling and you're wondering why someone else's look so good and maybe yours don't look so great. There's a lot of reasons too that could be, but one of the reasons could be is that you haven't fed your plants. They don't have enough nutrition. They've kind of exhausted that soil as far as the nutritional value of it, and so it's important for us to get in here as home gardeners, and if we want successful houseplants, to feed them. And so, like I said, today we're actually going to teach you how to feed your houseplants, with a chopstick and a goose. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. This is going to be a fun little video. So what we can do is, you can see right here, a lot of folks, one technique I'll just show you is that, like I said, you could actually just take it and sprinkle it right out and just right on top of the surface of the soil. 3 things. You need your fertilizer, you need your goose, and you need your chopstick. And the reason why we're gonna do the chopstick is because there are some folks where I probably could get away with just taking my goose and just sprinkling it, right here and there, and then sprinkling that around. But if you notice, if I just do that, it kind of stays in one pile right at the surface. And that's not super ideal. And why do you think that wouldn't be like great? It's because, well, I don't know, maybe tell me in the comments below. But really what we wanna do is if we really wanna give these plants the greatest access to this nutrition, is what we're going to do is we're going to use this chopstick right here, either side, whatever one you like, and we're going to use that to disturb the soil a little bit, and maybe I'll show you that a little close up of that, and that's going to allow us to get the fertilizer down where the roots are growing, and so that way, it's going to give it quicker access as it slowly breaks down and releases that nutrition that's hidden within. Then the plants can get at that. And then so what we're going to do is, instead of just leaving it right at the surface, which is still fine, you could do that. You could go through and we could just sprinkle a little bit on each plant at the surface, water them, and move on. But what I want to do is actually, because these are the plants that I have to look at every day and I want to see them thrive and do well, I'm actually going to go through there, like I said, and tickle them up, and then get this material in there, the fertilizer in there, and kind of get it buried. What we're going to do is, you're going to want to give it the proper amount for the size of the plant you're growing and how large the container is, right, by reading the instructions of whatever brand that you end up going with. But typically for these ones in here, I can probably get away. This is like a 1/4 teaspoon. I could give the smaller ones that amount and then kind of, like I said, work it in and then water it in. What's nice is that this fertilizer isn't really prone to burnings too much. Your plants having nitrogen burn, because it's it releases so slowly. So if you happen to give a little too much, it's probably not going to be the end of the world compared to some other fertilizers where if you do too much, you will see negative results right away. So this is kind of a good one for beginners, I would say, and home gardeners. You can use it on outdoor plants as well. I typically use this mainly on my indoor plants, and then some of my patio plants that are potted. because I like to use different nutrition for some of the plants that I grow outdoors, and it's in the soil that especially the ones that I eat. But for indoors, this is fantastic, and then for other purposes as well. But we're gonna do. Let me show you a close up on what we're gonna do, so that maybe that give you a better idea of what I'm talking about. So here. So when you're planting, when you're putting in your fresh fertilizer, here's a nice little dracaena I've got going. It's actually doing pretty good. It's actually, you can see it's shooting out some new growth right there, which is great. But we want to add some nutrition because this pot is actually really small. You know what I mean? It's like, it's only not much bigger than my fist. So I'm going to disturb the soil with my chopstick and kind of create maybe just a little trench around there where the soil is kind of chopped up about 1 inch to 2 inches down. I don't want to damage the trunk of this plant, and I don't want to damage the roots that are radiating out. So I'm going to kind of stay on the outside of it as far away as I can go, because I don't want to disturb that. But there you go. So now that I've got it kind of disturbed, really simple. I'm going to get a scoop of my little goose, and then sprinkle that around and kind of spread it around. And if I want to do a little more, I can do 2 gooses, right? If it's a bigger plant, maybe I'll do more. If the smaller ones, I could do a little less, but I think 1 scoop in here is good to get started, maybe even the other half scoop. And then now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over and soak this in my sink. I'm actually going to pop off this bottom, right? And put that aside. I'm going to let this get soaked in the sink. Let the water drip, 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 drip out of there until it stops dripping anymore. Then I can put this back on, and then I'll put it back where it belongs, right here on the shelf. And then that's going to be the process for how we like to fertilize around here. So I'm going to go through all of these, and I'm going to do that. I'm going to chopstick them up, disturb that soil. I'm going to bury that fertilizer, not leave it in little piles like that. And if they do, then even those ones, they can get spread out a little bit. And then you soak them in, and then get that nutrition started. And then what's nice about that is I don't have to do this too often. That's a really, like I said, it's a really slow release fertilizer, so it'll last in the soil for about 4 months or so, give or take. And so I'll come back in 4 months. I'll mark. It's kind of like giving my dog flea medication. I'll mark my calendar when I did it today. I'm going to do my entire house, all of them, top to bottom, and then and 4 months later, give or take, I'll come back and feed them again. All right. Well, now you know how to fertilize your houseplants with a little bit of slow release fertilizer. Look into it. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, put that in the comments. I'd love to hear about it. If you have any suggestions, I'd love to hear those too. But until then, happy gardening, best wishes, and hope you have a fantastic day. Take care. Bye-bye now. Well, I hope you found today's video fun, helpful, and if you did, please hit the subscribe button so you can come back for more shenanigans.